Positive energy all the time. You know the deal. Rep your city, rep your city. I am representing the great city of Chicago, Illinois. Shout out to everybody on Facebook, Twitch, Kick, my other Facebook, and YouTube. Yeah. We got San Jose in the building. We got Richmond, California in the building. We got the NO in the building, New Orleans. We got Dallas in the building, Oakland in the building. We got Greensboro in the building. Rep your city, rep your city. Rep your city. So to all of you all that have been pushing hard for delineation and have been pushing for our new title, congratulations. ABC has used the term foundational Black Americans. Black History Month honoring contributions of foundational Black Americans. This is a big celebratory event. I'm very excited. Very. Black History Month 2026, that was officially used on the news. Officially. I seen Tariq Nasheed post it. I saved the video. I'm going to put it in a folder for historical purposes. It is a fantastic moment in history. Fantastic. Like all that hard work that we all been doing to delineate is paying off. I'm telling you. This was a fantastic achievement. You all should be very happy for you, very proud of yourselves, and very excited. All of you brothers and sisters that have been pushing delineation and have been pushing us being identified as foundational Black Americans. Right on time for Black History Month. I don't really get sentimental over too much, but this is very sentimental to me. Now, let me explain why. This month, I'm going to turn 68 years old. I was born in 1958. And growing up as a shorty, of course, I didn't have much to do with that, but there was a lot of different things going on with us and our identity, Negro, colored, African American, and Black American. All of those things happened in my childhood when I was too young to really be able to partake in that. There was the news, so there wasn't any social media, so people couldn't have no input. People mostly just concentrated on going to work, doing what they got to do, things like that. And black immigrants wasn't over here like that. Little do many of them know very little about the real truth on black history. And so when we was growing up, there in the 60s, there were not a lot of Africans and Caribbean brothers and sisters here. There was some here, but very, very, very few. Very few. They began to come in the 70s. And over the years, we've gotten to this point where we're the generation that's actually using social media and using our power to finally be able to push for reparations, something that past generations wanted to do, but they didn't have the proper media to do it like we do. You see, you got to know on the side note, social media puts us even with the news media for the first time in the history of this country. For the first time in the history of this country, we got a voice through social media. And on the side note, we need to protect that because I suspect they will be trying to take back some of the power from the people, all people, from social media. Social media is becoming very powerful for the people. The people are able to create their own movements, and their movements are able to go national and worldwide. You know, back in the day, if you wanted to have a march, it was hard to let everybody know in Chicago unless you had some kind of way to go to maybe a radio station and pay them to announce it. And everybody's not necessarily listening to that radio station at that time. So we didn't really have the power to make announcements and flood media like we got now. But now we have power that we have to use. And for those of you all, you foundational Black Americans, use that power, push the line, and unify. Let's use social media to unify. This YouTube is a perfect example. I'm talking to you all over the country and all over the world. That wasn't possible. Today, I got not just as much power as the newsman, but I got newsman power. I'm able to go and speak to people that far away from me, that live close to me and far. So you all, congratulations. You all deserve a pat on the back. Every last one of you all that push for delineation and push for us to be identified as foundational Black Americans. And the fact that you see that on the news mean it will soon be on the census. And the government is definitely going to separate us from other blacks socially, economically, and they're going to start to taking the statistics on what we do and not jumbling our statistics in. By identifying as foundational Black Americans, we're able to see certain politicians and wondering why they're not standing up for us. And we find out they're not foundational Black Americans. You know, they're, you know, so now we can make sense of things because many times we wonder, well, why this politician ain't do nothing for us? And why this politician ain't do nothing for us? And now we come to find out they're not really us. And a lot of times when Black immigrants come here, well, all the time, they're never going to see things like we see it. How could they? They're not from here. They got no real long-term blood in the soil. So a lot of times they just don't cut it. That's why we got to stop voting for, we have to vote for FBA. We can't expect somebody whose parents or grandparents came from somebody else to really understand our plight and to fight for our plight. They are not us. They are their own people. They would be more likely for money to go out the country than in the country because they're from out of the country. And when a person comes somewhere where you're at, they're not going to be as serious. You know why? Because the same way they came, they could leave. See, we can't leave. We don't have anywhere to go. So when you see Pan-Africans is clowns because we cannot leave. We cannot transfer 50 million Black Americans to Africa. How? Where? Sustain how? This is where we're at. And so we have to think on terms of America. You kind of have Haitians. Your mind is, I'm going to send my grandmama money in Haiti. You're not here. You're not rooted in the soil. Oh, you're Jamaican. Oh, you're Dr. Umar. So you're not going to focus on America. You're Pan-African. If we do the research, we're going to find out that a lot of Pan-Africans are not foundational Black Americans. That's why their mind is panning all over the place. That's why they're not rooted on the problems from here because they're not from here. They're immigrants. And so we connect with the African. It worked with them because they're somebody else. So, of course, they're going to push this ideology to connect somewhere else. But those of us that's rooted and tooted and booted here from the 1700s, we're not like them. We're not like them with no disrespect. We're not like them. Their minds, their family is not here. If they're going to go visit their family, they got to go to Africa. They got to go to the Caribbean. If we go to visit our family, we got to go to Alabama. We got to go to Mississippi. We got to go to Texas. We got to go to New Orleans. When we go visit great-grandma, she ain't in Africa. Her mama wasn't in Africa. Her mama wasn't in Africa. And her mama's wasn't in Africa. And so when I grew up, every time my family went to visit our relatives, we went to Alabama. My friends from Jamaica, when they go to visit their mama, they go to Jamaica. They go to Trinidad. They go to Nigeria. They got to go out of the country to visit their relatives. So their mind is not here. Their mind is, I got to help my family back in Africa. We're trying to help our family right here. And then if you blend in and you Black, you can zoom in on all our tax dollars, call our tax dollars Black, And now you could eat off of the tax dollars from 50 million foundational Black Americans for the small number, relatively speaking, of Black immigrants. And we really don't want you benefiting off our tax dollars. I don't want to work and send my money nowhere. I want my money to go to foundational Black Americans that can benefit Americans or foundational Black Americans in New Orleans, in Mississippi, in Florida, in Arizona, in California. I want my money to benefit Americans, which would include foundational Black Americans here. I'm not interested in money going to Somalia, Venezuela, Nigeria, Ghana. No. I'm not working here for my money to go somewhere else because nobody's money come here. How much money is Trinidad sending here? How much money is Jamaica sending here? How much money is Nigeria? How much of their tax dollars coming over here? How much money from Blacks globally come here to benefit us in any kind of way? Not a penny. They suck money out of the country. Right? So a lot of people try to make this a war. It's not a war. This is economics and business. And this is nationalism. The same nationalism that everybody else practices. That's another problem with Black immigrants. They practice nationalism in their countries. And then when they migrate here, they don't want us to practice nationalism. They want us to practice everybody. But they don't practice no damn everybody where they from. Jamaicans don't practice no everybody. Trinidadians, Nigerians, Ghanaians, I can go on. They don't, in their countries, they don't practice no everybody's. They don't. African American was never from the people. African American was the news media. And so the term African American, Afro-American was only the news media. Jesse Jackson represented the media. And African American was used for the news media to be able to fit with everybody else's description. Okay, this is the history. It's the real history, y'all. I'm 68 this month. I was here. So the term African American was not from the people. Black Americans, that was not the term. That was a news media term used for news stories where they were using terms Greek American, Italian American, Chinese American, and then they just called us African American. Jesse Jackson did not create African American. Jesse Jackson used African American because that's the term was used on the news media because it fit with everybody else's description. So African American was a term made to fit everybody else's description when they were saying Chinese American, German American, Polish American, Italian American, and they couldn't identify no country, so they just called us African American for the sake of the news media. If anybody says anything different, ask them how old they are. And if they ain't 68, and if they ain't in their 60s, tell them they don't know what they talk about. They wasn't here. I was watching the news when those terms were used. And African American was a news media term. So if the news media came on and they were talking about a food festival and they want to talk about the different cuisine, they'll be like, come, yeah, there's Chinese American food, Italian American, Greek American, and we Black. So they got to call us something American. So they called us African American. As the whites started to breed with each other, they weren't Polish American no more. They became white because the Polish guy marries an Irish girl. So now when they have children, they're not Irish or Polish, they're just white. So as white Americans breeded amongst each other, they couldn't be Italian Americans no more because the Italian guy married a girl that's Greek and Polish. So now, for the news media again, the news media have to start identifying whites as white Americans. And that's how we became Black Americans. All of this was from the news media. Think about it. Can some individual people on the block make those terms up and they be all over the country? All right. How did the term African American or Black American be all over the whole country? The news media. You can't be in Chicago and say Black American and make that stick in California. How? Nobody in California can hear you and you in Chicago, right? So common sense will tell you for Black people to have these identities, it came from the media, not from the people. Duh. Anybody think I'm wrong? The media had to spread that, not us, and not Jesse Jackson. Jesse Jackson did not create African American. That's a lie. Jesse Jackson wasn't that big like that. Jesse Jackson was seen a lot in Chicago because his headquarters is in Chicago. But if you was in Memphis, you ain't see no damn Jesse Jackson. What? Once every 3 years, you might catch him on the news. A lot of people are confused because you got social media. So you think the world back in the 70s was like social media. No, it wasn't. There was no way you could see Jesse Jackson. We seen Jesse Jackson the most because Jesse Jackson didn't have to be on the national news. He could be on what? The local news. We seen him on Channel 9. He was not barely ever on Channel 2, Channel 5, or Channel 7. He wasn't on NBC, ABC, or CBS. No, he was not. Barely. So there would be impossible for Jesse Jackson to spread the term African American. He did not have media like that. He did not. He didn't have media, that type of national media like that. He didn't have that type of media. So for you younger people, don't think this type of media existed. This is new. Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok. This is new. So it's very important for young people to understand this is new. What can be done now never could be done before. Never. If you're not in Chicago, you never would have seen me. How? You never would have seen Pharaoh. And if you in Chicago, unless I came to your neighborhood or was at a park or somewhere you was at and introduced myself, you wouldn't see me either. So this message, I never would have had the power to spread this message until now. So don't let nobody tell you that Jesse Jackson had the power to make black people from one end of America to the other call themselves African Americans, because we never called ourselves African Americans. I'm going to repeat that. We never called ourselves African Americans. Never. The news media called us African Americans. We called ourselves Black Americans. Haven't you ever wondered how was there a term Black American and African American? Which one came first? They was both at the same time. But African American was a news media term. On the streets, in the hood, in Chicago, which is one of the top black cities, we were never identified ourselves as no damn African Americans. We've always been Black Americans. Say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud came out when I was 10 years old. We was black. Black Americans. Even when we greet, say, hey, give me 5 on the black hand side. We were soul brothers and soul sisters. So tell everybody that foundational Black Americans never called themselves African Americans. We never called ourselves that, ever. We never called ourselves African Americans. Never. The news media, the Chinese never called themselves that. Only they talking heads would say us Chinese Americans, or an Italian on the news say us Italian Americans. Only the talking heads use those terms. But the common people did not use the news media term. Chinese American, Polish American, African American, those are news media terms. The people did not use those terms. Got it? So Jesse Jackson did not create the term African American. It's a news media term, and he would be on the news media. So he used the term because it was the proper term for the news media. So when he would be on the media, he said African Americans because that was the news media term. That wasn't the term on the streets. I'm born here in 1958. I ain't never been no African American. We never, we call ourselves black people. You know what I'm saying? Come on, we call ourselves black people. We never call ourselves no damn African American. That's a news media term. This is somebody, I'm born in Chicago in 1958. Period. Well, we listen to the radio. We watch ABC, NBC, CBS. This is from somebody that's here. Black Americans never call themselves African Americans. Never. This is fact. We never call ourselves that. If you know anything about black people, we chop words down. We don't say long. So you know black people. Y'all know what we called ourselves, black. We didn't even say American. We said black people. We didn't say black Americans either. Listen, black people in Chicago, Detroit, Alabama, we did not, black people like to make it quick and easy. Y'all know that. Y'all know we ain't finna call ourselves, yeah, I'm a black American. We're not saying all that. We gonna say I'm black. We gonna chop this down. With your bad self, what? Say it loud. Dun, dun, I'm what? I'm black American and I'm proud. No, I'm black and I'm proud. I'm black and I'm proud. Once again, that's irrelevant because, as I said, African American was necessary for the news media because the news media was connecting ethnic groups with their homelands, because when you go to the 50s and the 60s, they are still close to their immigration. You still got Greek town. You still got Italian town. You still got that. Okay? Because it was the old school neighborhood. So the Greeks live here. So when the Greek boys go to high school, you didn't go to college. You went to high school. So if you don't go to college and you go to high school and you grow up and you in the Greek area, you're going to meet a Greek girl, have some children, and y'all going to be Greek. As whites start going to college, now the girl you fall in love with, you're an Italian, she ain't going to necessarily be no Italian. So as we'll just talk about the white Americans first. So as the white Americans start expanding out of their little communities, they were no longer Italian Americans. They became white. You can see that in the gangster movie where the dude fell in love with the Jewish chick. If they would have had babies, he would have no longer been Italians. They would have just been white. As a matter of fact, there's been documentaries in Chicago of the decline of white ethnic restaurants. For the intelligent people, listen and learn. In Chicago, we don't have a lot of Greek restaurants no more. We don't have a lot of Italian restaurants no more because we don't have Italian neighborhoods anymore. We don't have Greek neighborhoods no more. It's just a neighborhood now. So they've been talking about what are they going to do to keep the authentic food alive, because young whites ain't marrying based on the old ways. They're not a young white dude. He ain't pure no more. He ain't no, his mom and daddy not Italian no more. His mom and daddy not German no more. His daddy come from a German background. His mother come from an Irish background. His daddy come from a Polish background. His mama come from a Jewish background. So they're not Greek no more. They're not Italian no more. Just small numbers. They white now. No white young male is going to college looking for no ethnic girl to like. He's looking for the girl, got the nice breasts, is cute. He date her. She have a baby, and that's his wife. Sandy is his wife. Sandy is not nothing pure, and he's not nothing pure. Sandy's parents, her 4 grandparents came from 4 different places, and His 4 grandparents came from 4 different places. So once again, African American was only used so they can fit us in with the news when they were talking about Chinese American, Jewish American, Italian American, Greek American. They're like, what are we going to call the blacks? Because we don't know what country they're from. Well, let's just call them African American, which was fine. That's where that came from, for the news media. They had to fit blacks in there, so they just said African. So that, you know what I'm saying? For the news media, because everything was defined by the old countries back in the 50s and the 60s. So back in the old countries in Chicago in the 50s and the 60s, you had Polish neighborhood, Italian neighborhood, Greek, and you don't got that no more. That's all gone. You don't got little Italy like that no more. The only ethnic neighborhood you got now is Chinatown. That's it. And Koreatown in LA. The Chinese are the only ones still doing it the old way. You think I'm lying? Show me an ethnic community in Chicago that's as big as Chinatown. So now they're going by race, your color, white, black, Asian, Hispanic. That's the new, yeah, white, black, Asian, Hispanic. That's the new thing. That's the new thing. So us, we never had an opportunity to identify ourselves. This is our first opportunity to identify ourselves. And so foundational Black American was what we chose to represent how long we've been over here, to take our credit for being in the Revolutionary War, in the Civil War, in World War I, World War II. That's what that's about. Okay? All right, this is, I want you all to know the knowledge. Okay? I don't want you to be emotional about it. I just want you to know the knowledge. You understand? So we're foundational Black Americans. Okay? To connect us to how long we've been in the country. Okay? You understand? So we can get our respect as far as lineage in America. We don't want to overlook their brothers that fought in World War II, in World War I. You see the real Black Panthers? They fought with General Patton against the Germans. Yeah, the original Black Panthers. This is foundational Black Americans. Did you know that? This is where the Black Panthers got their symbol from. This is World War II. That's what makes us foundational. Okay? I don't want nobody to make you think, oh, it's division. It has nothing to do with division. It has everything with claiming our history in the United, how long we've been here, which is also necessary to get reparations. You cannot get reparations for slavery if you wasn't here for slavery. This is the Black Panthers, the original Black Panthers, the 761st Tank Battalion that fought in World War II. The Black Panthers that fought in World War II. Foundational. Okay? We fought in the Revolutionary War. Okay? This is why we are foundational Black Americans. That is to identify how long we've been here and how much blood we got in the soil. You can buy this book and learn your history. Okay? You can buy that book and learn your history. So we won't have no mistakes. We don't want no confusion, because a lot of you all, nobody really told you. So it's not your fault. And so the foundational Black American has nothing to do with division. It has something to do with specific identity, which is needed to get reparations. So do not listen to Black immigrants. We barely know the information. So how could you expect a Black immigrant to know anything about American history in details? That's why you shouldn't be arguing with them. They don't know nothing. How you gonna argue with me? You just got here Thursday, right? You don't know nothing. What do you know? You're from Jamaica. And a lot of them from Jamaica and from Trinidad and stuff, they don't even know their history that well. They don't really know their history like that. Because if brothers and sisters from the Caribbean know their history, they would be fighting for their own reparations. Okay? So anytime you see some Black people all in our business about our reparations that do reparations, you know they some lames. Because how you got enough time all the way from Africa to be beefing with FBA when Europe then robbed you blind right there in Africa? Make some sense. Europe then robbed you blind. Shut up and concentrate on your own situation. You understand, y'all? They don't even know their own situations. Don't waste your time arguing with somebody who don't know nothing. Don't even know nothing about their own history, their own situation. If you Black and you all the way over here in our business, and ain't even taking care of your business where you from. You all the way in Nigeria in my business, and you ain't even taking care of your business in Nigeria. They running over you in Nigeria. Shell and them is running over you. Don't y'all waste your time arguing with some people that ain't standing on their own business. Stand on our business. And the hell with them. They ain't even standing on their own business. And I'll tell a black immigrant to their face. Black immigrants are slow. We're the fastest. Down there in the Caribbean, they under the Queen. They still worshiping the Queen. Why would you listen to them? We trying to come out of a slumber. They still deep in the slumber. You look at Jamaica. The Chinese is punking them down there. You want me to argue with a Jamaican that's about to lose his island? Keep it real. So y'all focus. This is why NBC used the term foundational Black Americans, because we focus on what we're trying to do. We're trying to delineate, and we're trying to get what we're supposed to get from this country. And we don't want no black people that's not originally from this country coming over here telling us nothing. You out of pocket, really. You're out of pocket. If you're a black immigrant and you over here talking on our business, you out of pocket. Because no matter what you say, we let you walk around here. We let you walk around here. We're not paying no attention to you. We're not doing nothing to you. We're not stopping you from living in America. We're not ICE. We ain't send ICE after you. Your friend that you like more than us sent ICE after you. While you was all on the internet from Jamaica, from Africa, hating on foundational Black Americans, saying we don't work hard in the country and we lazy and all that, showing how much you love the country. How's that working out for you? They're finna throw your black ass out. We tried to tell you. We tried to tell you. Man, we tried to tell black immigrants that all that you came here and work hard, hold that thought. You ain't worked hard as we work. That's for all you Africans. You ain't worked hard as we work. We was working when you was still in Africa. What is you talking about? Without our work, you couldn't even get on the airplane. Without Rosa Parks, that was her birthday yesterday. How you think your black ass could get on the airplane in a segregated country? That's to you Africans always running y'all mouth. If it wasn't for us fighting for integration on airlines and buses, your black ass would still be in Africa. You wouldn't have never been able to get on United Air. You'll still be in the Caribbean and Africa if it wasn't for our blood, sweat, and tears. Period. And you brothers and sisters in Africa, y'all ain't got no military, mind state, or nothing. Why would you get on the internet beefing with us when we outnumber you over here? Put your own people in danger. All you black brothers in Africa that's on the internet disrespecting foundational Black Americans, you're a disgrace to African people because you're putting the brothers and sisters from Africa in danger. You're making people hate them. Duh. You ain't helping Africa like that. And then you're doing it in front of another race of people, and now that race of people gonna throw you out because you brothers and sisters in Africa then let them know you ain't got no backup, like dummies. Y'all on there. We hate Black Americans. Y'all and nothing. Y'all are kata and stuff. And the Europeans say, oh, they ain't got no backup. Throw them out. Yeah, Black Americans don't deal with them. We can do whatever to them. Duh. Oh, yeah, without the 50 million Black Americans backing them up, they ain't nobody. Get them out of here and bring white immigrants. We ain't going to argue with our white. That's how they look at you. We ain't got no whites in no other country trolling us, arguing with us from no white country. But these blacks in Africa, why don't they mind their African business? Why are they all on the internet trolling black Americans, all what black Americans been through? That's how white America look at Africans and Caribbeans. You know, I was on Instagram and I was playing a bunch of reggae songs, but when the hurricane hit Jamaica and all them Jamaicans got to disrespecting black Americans, I deleted all that because I wasn't comfortable posting Jamaican reggae Rasta songs while Jamaicans talking greasy to us. That make me a traitor to my own group. So if you put me in a position where I got to pick, of course I'm going to pick FBA. Duh. I'm not going to pick you. Duh. I'm from here. I'm not from Africa. I got African DNA, but I'm not from Africa. Pan-Africans is slow. You can't be over here for 400 years and be from Africa. If that's the case, why you don't tell Fijians they from Africa? Why don't you tell the people in Papua New Guinea they from Africa? They are from Africa. Why don't you tell Samoans? Why don't you tell Black Hawaiians? Why don't you tell all the black people that went all around the world from the so-called motherland? Why you ain't telling them they Africans? Why ain't you pushing Pan-Africanism in Fiji? They black. They probably got some African DNA to you Pan-African losers. Because Pan-Africanism is for losers. The concept of going to Africa with no military to defend yourself and going to the Europeans to get a ticket to go be super black is the dumbest concept ever. Pan-Africanism is trash if you ain't building your own airplanes. But to be super black on United Airlines, okay. You see how Rastas is super black and don't own nothing but a bongo? Don't own nothing. Just super black in his mind. Ain't building nothing, got no infrastructure, got no military, got no nothing. Just want to go back to Africa with some sandals and a head wrap, butt naked. And man, because I don't want to go and beat no bongo drum with you losers. You know what I'm saying? And you can't tell me, no, I've been around a whole bunch of Rastas. And Rastas talk Pan-African and going to Africa and couldn't even control reggae. Let people took reggae from them. You think I'm going somewhere with you? They punked you and he took your black music from you. Then you're talking all this revolutionary stuff. But you on tour in Germany, in Denver. And when you look at your audience, ain't a black face nowhere in the audience. But you're talking all this black Rasta, Haile Selassie, the black king of kings. And then there's all kind of funny style people could be Rastas that ain't really black. Like dude look like he from India or somewhere. Got some dreads. I ain't hating. I'm just saying you talking one thing, but the reality ain't what you talking. You know, Rastas today is bootleg. The whole lot, throw it in the garbage. It's trash. It's from Big Pharaoh. It's not a concept I could deal with no more because the concept is over here, but the reality is over there. And anytime somebody make up a concept and it's over here, but the reality is over there, what we doing? You can't show me nothing match the concept. Show me. It don't. You couldn't even control reggae. How hard would have been? To throw your own concerts, build your own arenas, to have your own concerts, have your own radio stations, have tours where Black people can come see you. Foundational Black Americans, do y'all get to see these super Black rosters on tour? No, because the Europeans have took it over and they only send them to perform for Europeans. You don't see no big super Black rosters in no Black cities performing. When the last time these super Black rosters performed in Chicago? What's the big Black reggae show? Wait. It ain't one. I'm just saying, you'll be waiting forever to see they Black asses on my soul. You understand? Of course, you know, some of the elders really didn't like little Pharaoh. That's before I was big Pharaoh. And they didn't like me too much, you know? But it ain't really nothing you could do about it in Chicago and in LA, because you don't run Chicago and LA. That's what my situation was like. Rosters couldn't really tell me nothing because they had no connection and relationship with Compton. They didn't have no relationship with Blacks in LA like me. They were some standoffish weirdos talking Black stuff, but really never dealt with the Black community, not like they could have. There was no bond there. Half of them wouldn't even date a Black woman. You know what I'm saying? So we moving up. And now we're getting our identity recognized in the media. So you all have to keep pushing foundational Black Americans. Now, I know the American descendants of slaves is swinging in the air mad. Nobody wants to be us. No, we don't want to be no descendants of no damn slave. Cancel ADOS and come over to FBA. The ticket was $250. Ziggy Marley sucks. He's horrible. You know what I'm saying? No fire in him. He just on stage, everybody together. We all love everybody. Chinky, 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 chinky. We just love. It's everybody. We're all together. Everybody. That's what his music sounds like. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no Africa unite or nothing like that. It's everybody, all of us together. Come sing, swing your dreads and sing. He's soft like baby boo boo. Yeah, he's soft. I can't listen to that. I remember I seen his first concert. I seen Ziggy Marley's first concert when they first put him out there. It was in LA. He was a little boy. And that's when he came out. What the fight? Them a fight against I and I, but they not gonna stop by. Who remember that song? That was his first record. And his sisters was dancing. He was a little boy. He had that song, what the fight? Them a fight against I and I, but they not gonna catch I. You know what I mean? It was cool. It was good for a kid. And then Andrew Tosh came out. Then he had his fingernails with silver. And you know, he was all weirded out. But I remember when Ziggy came out, we supported him. But when I seen the sisters didn't have no dreadlocks, I said, okay, this is watered down. You know, once I seen the sisters that was singing with Ziggy didn't have no dreads on their head and they wasn't dealing with roots and culture, I said, oh, this a money grab. How y'all ain't really coming in the same image of the Iteries? Y'all don't look like Zeke. Y'all don't look like Rita, Judy, and Marcia. Y'all look like y'all just got out the barbershop. And he a punk. Yeah, Ziggy, punk ass. I remember I was in L.A. I think I was vending in front of the show. And usually, as a roster man, that's why I got all the pictures with the roster. When the roster man passed the roster man, they stopped. Yes, brethren. Boom, boom. But I was there, and Ziggy came and walked right past me like I didn't even exist. And I was like, hell up, brethren. He didn't even look. I said, what the hell? Rita did the same thing. Man, Ziggy walked past me with all them locks on my head. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. Like, I wasn't even there. Nobody do that. Burning Spear, Peter Tosh, nobody. Rasta always held up Rasta. Man, Ziggy walked past me like I was dirt. So like 2 years later, this is in LA. So like 2, 3, maybe 4 years later, down where the Wild Hairs on the north side, there was an Ethiopian restaurant. I'm a little different now because I had got stabbed. So I was battling, trying to stay Rasta and turn into a demon. So I was kind of, morphosizing into something negative. But I still had a lot of positive. And I went in the Ethiopian restaurant and Ziggy was in there, trapped now. You're in Chicago, you're in the restaurant. So me and my brethren come in and he like, hell up, Rasta. And I looked at him like, you know what I'm saying? Well, you better be glad you Bob Marley's son. I just looked at him. Well, you don't shut your phony ass up. We cool now that you trapped in here in Iraq. You trapped up in this restaurant with me and my brethren. We foundational Black Americans, and he's all super friendly. Yeah, it's right down, yeah. I ain't even say nothing. I said, I'm thinking, punk, shut up. Rastafari, he ain't no Rastafari royalty. He a buster. No, he didn't. Andrew Tosh became a weirdo. He wasn't. He was a weirdo. Anybody know when they had the long fingernail, silver fingernail, you knew what that fingernail was for? They all got on substances, all of them. All of them, they all got on substances. There's videos on YouTube. Go look it up. All of them. You'd be surprised. All of them. I don't want to say their names. You know who they are. They wasn't nothing. You know what I'm saying? I respect Bob. He fell off, but I still respect his work. Bob used to get taken over by like the Holy Ghost. So there was two Bob Marleys. There was Bob Marley the man, and then there was Bob Marley that was picked on the mission. And when he would get in the stage, he would get a trance. So that make it's two Bob Marleys. It's the one off the stage, and it's the one on the stage that would get possessed on some righteousness. You could see him. You could see Bob. You know what I'm saying? We used to watch it over again. See right there, right there. We used to watch when Bob used to get possessed by righteousness. You could see it. Go back and watch his old concerts. You could see what they would call maybe the Holy Ghost. You could see when it take Bob over on stage. You could see it. He be gone. The other Bob Marley don't be there. The other Bob Marley don't be there. So, he was man. He was a prophet and just a man, so it's two of them. You know what I mean? So, I got respect for Bob. You know what I'm saying? But everybody squandered it. You know what I'm saying? And I might talk about that this week. No, I don't want to expose a lot of that stuff. It's a reason that Rasta culture ain't nothing. You understand? Because many of the Jamaicans that was playing reggae was the same people that hated Rasta. So now they hated Rasta in Jamaica. Rasta used to have to hide in the hills. But once the music got famous and all these white people started coming to Sunsplash, that's when all these fake Rastas came. See, most of these Rastas don't listen to them because they born from the music and Europeans coming to see the music. So now the same people that hated Rasta became Rasta. And then they built the bootleg Rastas you seen today. They built off of Sunsplash. Because the original Rastas couldn't even come to town. So now when Sunsplash come and they see white people like it, now all these fake Caribbean dudes start becoming Rastas. That's why you got so many fake Caribbean Rastas now. They fake. Them is reggae ice. Them ain't no Rastas. They came once the money was there. So now the Jamaicans start taking Rasta talk, Irie, soon come. All that was just Rasta. That wasn't no Jamaican. So now the Jamaicans, now they see they can make some money. Now they Irie, soon come, yes I, and make you think that's Jamaican. That's not Jamaican. That's Rasta. Jamaican wasn't saying soon forward and all that. So that's why all of them Rastas is reggae Rastas. Them reggae, them not Rastas. They got into it for the money. And then when they got into it for the money, I could prove it. When they got into it for the money, and then Shab and them started taking over, what happened? They all disappeared. Soon as the music changed and the money was in Sean Paul and them, what happened? Gone. I'm gonna be talking about that this week in my live from Revolutionary. I'm gonna be talking about that. From revolutionary to religious. These Rastas is these Christians. Them ain't no Rastas. These religious weirdos. Most of these Rastas, 98% of the Rastas you meet today, they not Rastas. Them is Christians that took the revolution out of it and bought in religion. Rasta never dealt with religion. All these religious, they not that. When they get around like a revolutionary type, they melt like butter in the hot sun. These rosters, most 97, 98% of the rosters you meet today, them not rosters. Them is Christians pretending to be rosters. That's what they are. Them Christians. Yes, I, Emmanuel, let's see, yes, Psalms. I said, they ain't no soldiers. They made a religion. Them ain't no soldiers. With all them head wraps on, and all them robes and all them bites, you just say, I just I ain't think that a dude like that ain't gonna get no, no type of liberation. They ain't Rasta wasn't none of that. Rasta was what? We recruiting soldiers for your army. No, Emmanuelite, Emmanuelite. Yeah, yeah, I can't do it. Yeah, they ain't that. That's all. That's why you look at the Caribbean islands. Them not no Rastas. Ain't hardly no Rastas down there. Them is Christians pretending they Rastas. They made a religion out of it. You know what I'm saying? They take Haile Selassie, make him a religious figure instead of a figure that fought against Italy. See, we looked at him as somebody that fought against Mussolini. Them, they look at him, David I, Selassie I, blessed I, and I. You know what I'm saying? Shut up, punk. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I can't stand religious rosters. They some cow, they phony. Jamaicans pretending to be Ethiopians, pretending to be Rastas, but they just Jamaican Christians with red, gold, and green and head wraps on. That's what they is. They Jamaican Christians. See, and we're going to get back to the conversation. See, a lot of them, they was Christians. When they seen Rasta was making some money, they started dressing like they was Rastas, but they was really Christians. So what they did when they infiltrated Rasta, they turned Rasta into Christian with Emmanuel. So they made Emmanuel a Christian figure, and then they softened it because they was never Rasta. They was always Christian reggaeites. They was always reggaeites. They was never Rastas. So that's why you see all them fake Jamaicans and Trinidadians in there. That's why you see they turned it back into Christianity, like a Rasta, a bootleg Rasta form of Christianity. You see it. They Christians. They just was Rastas trying to make some money off of reggae because they think the Europeans like the reggae, like the red, gold, and green. So they all put on red, gold, and green. Yeah, they bootleg. And haters and liars. Because with all that black unity, they never liked foundational black Americans. Let me tell you something, man. Them island dudes, they not black like that. They some haters. Tethers. They never liked black Americans. Facts. They talk all that black unity. They never liked black Americans. Only a few of the real elders. The rest of them, they don't like y'all. They all that black they talking, they a damn lie. They ain't no different than a lot of Nigerians. Nigerians say you a Carter, and them fake Rastas say you a Yankee. And they love Jamaica. They don't love no doggone Ethiopia. They ain't, okay? No, that's all phony stuff. That ain't that. I'm gonna talk about it in my book. When I turned dark and I turned to demon, they was coming to Chicago. I was serving them. Hey, I bet you none of them don't want to step on my foot. I tell how many of them came here and bought substances, stuck their little rocks under their head wraps. Yeah. Well, I see one thing about me. I don't lie. I turned dark when I got stabbed. I turned dark. I went from Jah to the devil. I ain't gonna lie. Now I'm half and half, but that's gonna be in the book. I'm working on it. I'm trying to stay on the righteous side, but to stay on the righteous side, I can't socialize a lot. So I don't socialize too much till I can get more on the righteous side. I'm down the middle. It don't take much for me to, you know what I'm saying? I got like PTSD and mental problems. Yeah, brother say, why you so emotional? You're like, bro, I got mental problems. I got PTSD. I got mental problems. It don't take too much. I'm gonna go off and not fake go off like real gangster stuff. Like, so I'm trying not to do that. So I just try to keep my distance, be with a queen, and I can only go around like positive brothers and sisters. If I see you and you're negative, I gotta leave. I can't do negativity. But that's a whole nother thing. To get back to what we talking about is that this is a really big day in black history that ABC identified us as foundational black Americans. That's a really big deal. Really big. Many of y'all are going to see reparations. And remember, this is one of the main stepping stones that took you in that direction. Because what this is letting you know now that all news networks are going to start identifying foundational black Americans. This is big. See, honoring contributions of foundational black Americans, specifically dealing with our lineage and what we invented and what we did in this country, right? So you'll have a brother say, all of us is immigrants. You see that fool say immigrants built the country? He don't know what he's talking about because an immigrant 400 years ago is not an immigrant now. It's very important for you to understand that. You cannot tie us to the blacks that came here 400 years ago. Once your people is here 400 years, you are now foundation of the country. White Americans that have been here, they are not immigrants. You understand? You can't relate them to immigrants based on the person that came here. But once you stay, you're not an immigrant. You understand? So when he got up there and said that, he wasn't going against the FBA, he was going against ICE. Okay? So I understand he wasn't really trying to downplay FBA. He did downplay FBA, but that's not what he was trying to do. He was telling ICE that the white folks that came here was immigrants. That's what he was really saying. He was talking about white people. Okay? He was telling ICE, You're arresting these other people. But the white people came in as immigrants. But he sounds stupid because if I got a house and I got a spare room and I let somebody come and move in my house and stay in the spare room, that don't mean 3, 4, 5,000 people can come. So going back talking about somebody was immigrants in an empty country and comparing that to now, where you ain't got no room for no 2 million Venezuelans and Somalians, that don't make no sense. That don't make no sense to compare 2026 to the 1700s. That don't make no sense. So anytime people try to compare that, that's stupid. Because you don't got no room like that now. When the settlers and stuff came here and said, go west, young man, go west, there was nobody out there, right? Buffalo. How you going to compare a land that wasn't fully inhabited to a Chicago, New York, and LA today and say, well, people came back when nobody was here was immigrants? Bruh, you sound stupid. It's 2026. Even more recently, the amount of Mexicans that the American government let come in this country in the early 80s, they can't do that now. In the early 80s, there was room for them to come. There's no room like that. Listen, on a side note, if you're a family with children, stop taking your children and your wife on airplanes flying around America. Drive. If you really want to be a good parent, get your car, get your wife and your children, and drive across the country. Flying, your children are going to be stupid. You have to see the country to know where you live at. And when you drive across America, you see that first there's a lot of inhabitable land. You're going to notice every time you get to cities, there's water there. And everywhere there's not no cities, there ain't no water. So just because you got a lot of land doesn't make it inhabitable. You have to live around the water. And all the places in America that got water are full. There's no room in those places where you can sustain life for no millions and millions of immigrants to come. There's no jobs or none of that. The situation with ICE is phony. Phony. All the Americans that's standing up for illegal immigrants are phony, frauds, and losers. Because go to Spain right now, where they let you stay 3 months, and watch what happens when them 3 months up. They're going to throw you out. Go to any country, and when your visa is up, they're going to arrest you and throw you out. Any country. You can't just go to a country on a visa and say, oh, I'm going to stay, like these migrants is doing. And anybody want to get on any live stream with me and debate this, I'm going to make you look stupid. You standing up for illegal migrants in this country, take your ass somewhere and stay when your visa's up. Everywhere on this planet, they're going to throw you out when your visa is up. There's nowhere you can go on your visa and your visa's up and say, I'm going to stay. Like the Somalians is doing, like all of them is doing. No, you got to go. If they take the Haitians and say, we're going to let you up here for a time period because your country ain't no good, and then we're going to send you back, that's what it is. The Haitians came under the agreement, they got to go home. Temporary. Haitians are here temporary. Do y'all know what temporary means? It means temporary. You got to go back home. You go to Haiti. Go to Haiti and let your visa run out and let the authorities catch you. They're going to throw you out. They might lock you up for a couple of years before they even throw you out. Show me any way you can go in this world and overstay your visa. So I don't know who these people is standing up for people to overstay their visa in the United States. You fighting for somebody to overstay their visa or somebody be in the country illegal. You fight for something you can't do. How smart is that? What I look like fighting for you to do something I can't do. I'm fighting for you to stay in the country. I'm fighting for you to stay here from Venezuela. But if I go to Venezuela and my visa's up, guess what? Guess what if you go to Venezuela and your visa's up? You do know you got to get out, right? You're going to have to apply for citizenship. And if you don't get citizenship, you're going to have to get out. Anywhere in this world, you got to leave. If your paperwork ain't in order, you can't stay nowhere and you don't got no paperwork giving you the right to stay there. You got to have paperwork. And so if millions of people run across the border, it's going to take too long to do the paperwork. They got to get out. The paperwork is done by letting a few people over at a time. Now we can do your paperwork as you come in. But if a 250,000 y'all run across the border, it could take us years and years and years to do all that paperwork. Now y'all got to get out and come back in smaller numbers so we can get your paperwork. You can't just come here and say, I'm going to stay. And you got Americans protesting for people that's here illegally. The protesters that's protesting about the migrants can't do in those migrant countries what they protesting for the migrants to be able to do here in America. You tell me that's not crazy. You protesting for Somalians to stay without no visas when their time is up, but you go to Somalia and let your visa expire. You're going to have to leave. Who believes you can just go to Somalia and stay? Who told you can go anywhere in this country and stay after your visa? So what you look like fighting against ICE, and ICE job is to throw you out if you're here illegally. That's their job. Then you say something crazy like they're going to come after Black Americans. Just ridiculous. ICE pull you over, you show them your ID, your license, prove who you are, you're all good. You might get some weirdo try to deport you anyway because they ain't doing his job. When they find out, that's going to be a lawsuit. He's going to lose his job. He could even be prosecuted. Basically. If ICE grab me and throw me out illegal in the country and I make a call here and get my people to go down to City Hall and get my information and take it to the governor and all that, they're going to do nothing but bring me back and get sued. I'm gonna have me some good money when I get back, though, because I'm a U.S. citizen. My family been here since the country was built. I'm not an immigrant. There is nowhere for me to go. And so when people say they're going to deport y'all too, This is a lack of intelligence. That's what it is. The Somalis and a lot of them people, Aaron, had temporary visas. So the United States government let them in. But the Somalians, the United States government let them in, and then it was too much rampant thievery and corruption and scamming. So they threw their own selves out. The Haitians, the United States let them in, but the Haitians is doing so much foul stuff and ain't really adapting into American society, they're going to throw you out. It's just like if you go to a lady's house and you go live with her and she cooks dinner, then she cleans the dishes, she washes the dishes, she put them in the cabinet, she vacuums, she clean off the table, she put the tablecloth on there, and she say you can live with her. And you stay there, you don't wash the dishes, you don't put the tablecloth back on, you put dirty dishes in the sink and all that, she gonna say you overstaying your visa and put you out. Immigrants did not come to America and function as Americans. They function trifling, and then you got to get out because you were supposed to know you got to come and uphold the same standards. You cannot run from Haiti, but bring what you ran from here. This is what I don't understand about immigrants. This is what I don't understand about brothers and sisters from the Caribbean and nowhere. You want to Mexico, you want to leave, but then you come and bring everything you was running from up here, and you turn this into what you left. That's what happens when you don't let a few in a time. That's why a lot of Mexicans in California is complaining because they saying they letting too many new Mexicans in, and it's ruining the Mexicans that been here. It's ruining their life because they're already Americanized and they left Mexico to get away from these Mexicans. Now you let the Mexicans they left from come. So imagine if you was a decent Somalian and you came here and then the other Somalians come and start scamming and defecating all in the street and all kind of rumors, all type of stuff. And you like, they're making you look bad. Now, imagine if I was a Nigerian and I came here and I got a job. I work at a hospital. I'm just a Nigerian, but I'm living an American life. And a whole bunch of Nigerians started coming over. A whole bunch of Nigerians started getting on social media, started calling Black Americans Akata and all this, started disrespecting Black Americans. What you think I'm going to think? I'm going to think y'all messing it up for me. This is what's happening to some of the innocent migrants. The other ones is bringing their trifling lifestyle with them. And this will happen when too many come at one time. That's why they got to throw them all out. You got to bring them in a few at a time. Because when they just run across the border like that and come, then they don't acclimate into your society, and then they turn your place into what they ran from. They'll run from a place and come and make like they did California, MacArthur Park and all out there. All of them South and Central Americans came to L.A. and turned L.A. into the raggedy places they left. How you say you want to be an American citizen, but you turn the place into Guatemala or something? You know what I'm saying? You don't make no sense. You bought what you said you was leaving. I mean, when the Haitians first started coming up here, allegedly they start finding all these chicken heads and stuff. You know, they be doing that Santa Maria. in Mexico and down there. They have some strange practices that really don't coincide with our lifestyle up here. And then you can't expect Black Americans to stand up for you because you don't mess with us. What I look like standing up for some people, I don't know you, you don't talk to me, you don't deal with me, I have no relationship with you or whatever. What do you want me to do? I don't even know you. You stayed separate. You know, that was another bad mistake Black immigrants made. So for us now to be recognized as foundational Black Americans, this shows you that we are going to be separated governmentally now. Thank God. We are not going to be classified with other blacks. Thank God. We are going to be foundational Black Americans. We are going to be in a whole different system. We are going to be categorized as a separate group. We are going to be judged on only what we do. And they're going to start specifically finding out who those others are and putting them in group and keeping specific statistics on them. You will no longer be able to hide under Black. No. You will be looked at as Nigerians. This is what the Nigerians is doing here. This is what the Haitians is doing here. This is what the Jamaicans is doing here. This is what the Foundation of Black Americans is doing. You won't be able to take no credit for our success. You won't be able to take no credit for our tax dollars or none of that. You got to stand on your own 2 feet. None of this hide under us, hate us, hide under us, hate us, which is what Black immigrants been doing. They've been hiding under us when it benefits them and being wherever they from when it don't benefit them. That's what they've been doing. And they've been living in this country off of our tax dollars. They don't pay enough taxes here to get what they're getting. They getting our stuff. When you look at the tax dollars, and that's how white Americans like y'all coming over here living off of the tax dollars of real Americans. Your little group is not paying enough taxes for what you want. So when they separate us, now they're going to be able to see how much is you really contributing into the country instead of hiding amongst all the Americans. What are you bringing to the table? I hope they get rid of the fact you can come here, you can buy a store, you don't got to pay no taxes for 7 years. The Asians and all them Caribbean people come, they'll go get a store. They don't got to pay no taxes for 7 years. When the 7 years is up, they'll sell the store to their uncle, change the name. They don't got to pay another 7 years. And they've been cheating the system for years. And we don't like the fact that you're going to come here and do something that we can't do. We don't like it. We don't like it. We want you out of here. It's not fair to the people in the country that somebody can come from somewhere else and rob the country of billions and millions of dollars and scam. While we Americans got to work hard all the time. We don't get no tax break. But because you're an immigrant, you can open up a store. You don't got to pay no tax for 7 years. And then when the 7 years over, you can sign over to your brother. Now that's 14 years, 21 years. You're only paying no tax. You're just making money. And then you set these stores up and you make a lot of that money from Black Americans. You don't even like us. We dealt with that with the Chinese. No, they got to pay their taxes just like everybody else. All them laws got to get changed. And we can't trust the Democrats because the Democrats is tethers. A lot of the Democrats are tethers. A lot of the Democrats are not foundational Black Americans. That's why this is a big deal, because now we're going to find out who is who. And we might not want Roland Martin speaking for us no more. He not us. Roland Martin is not us. Dr. Umar is not us. All of these brothers that's not foundational Black Americans, we're going to demand you stop speaking on our behalf, or it's going to get real ugly. Stop, speak. You do not speak for FBA. And we're going to make that clear to the government and everybody. They don't speak for us. No. We don't want, unless you, us, we don't want you speaking for us. Period. Because that gets funny and it doesn't benefit us. And you can jump this side, then jump on that side and jump. We can't jump nowhere. We foundational Black Americans, we got to be that all the time. We can't pretend over here, they pretend over there, pretend over here, pretend over there. Black immigrants can pretend they could be Black 1 minute, Jamaican the next minute, Black 1 minute, Virgin Islander the next minute. 1 minute you this Black whatever, the next minute you Virgin Islander. But the whole time you're Virgin Islander. The whole time you don't have no best interest. And a lot of these immigrants, their mindset is, if things go bad, I'll run. That's why they bad for a country a lot of times. That's why you got to find the ones that really want to go through the means to really become a citizen. Because them other ones, they'll come here and their mentality is, I'll come here, I'll eat off of it. Oh, if it fall, I'll run somewhere else. So a lot of Africans, they'll come here. If things get bad, they'll run somewhere else. We'll still have to be here. Now, who wants to live with some people that if the country go down, they run and you got to stay and fix it. And then after you fix it, they liable to come back. Because you know they're going to run because they ran from Africa. They didn't try to fix where they was from. What make you think they're going to try to fix anything? They're going to hop around to wherever it's popping at. But you at home, you can't do that. If I go to Africa and I'm in Nigeria and I help mess up Nigeria, I can leave. But the Nigerians can't leave. So it's hurting them if I'm in Nigeria and I ain't got no love for Nigeria. That's to their detriment. For real. Because once I mess everything else, I can run back to Chicago. But bro got to stay in Nigeria and deal with that. That's not cool. And that's what's happening all over the world. People is going places where they ain't got no invested interest, help ruining it, because what the hell they can care? They're going to run somewhere else. We shouldn't be having people in the United States that don't really want to be American citizens. Because if not, these are users. And a user don't care. They don't care. A lot of these people in the United States don't care nothing about this country because they can leave the same way they came. You can't trust too many immigrants. Can't trust nobody that could leave. Come tear your house up, and then now your house tore up, they leave. They go find somewhere else to be vagabonds. That's how I look at it. And so for us being classified as foundational Black American is a big moment for us, our tax dollars, our achievements in this country, and our status in this country. We don't want to be categorized with nobody just because they got our skin color. We're not doing that. And all the brothers that's immigrants that want us to be categorized based on our skin color, they all fraudulent. I tell them to their face because they don't do that where they from. Blacks come here and want something that they don't even push where they came from. That's a fact. They want to push a program over here that they don't push where they from. Just let that sink in. You want to come to the United States. You want to push ideologies here that you don't push in Africa, you don't push that in the Caribbean. You don't. You just want to push that over here because you can leave. And when people is at home, they more serious than visitors. Visitors, what do they care? They could leave. That's the danger about not making immigrants really going through the serious process of becoming citizens. You can't just let everybody run across the border and be here. So for all you foundational Black Americans, know this is big right here. They're going to start separating us. It's going to be the best thing happen. We'll be able to allocate our specific tax dollars, our specific living conditions, our specific problems and needs. And we won't be able to have all these fake people mix in because I ain't going to lie, we got a lot of people mixing in. We got a lot of newsmen. We got a lot of politicians that ain't us. And they're using their skin color to look like us. But when they get in office, they ain't doing nothing for us. Like Roland Martin. Roland Martin don't be talking about nothing for foundational Black Americans, really. He just be talking a bunch of weirdo Democrat stuff. You've never seen him talk about anything that really specifically gonna benefit foundational Black Americans. Everything he be talking about be like some Democrat stuff. That's why so many of them Black Democrats are standing up for Venezuelans and Somalians. While foundational Black Americans, they ain't never stood up for us. They ain't never stood up for us. I tell Roland to his face, boy, you don't never see that man say nothing specifically for Black Americans. This is why they always got all these foreigners in the Democratic Party and they try to get us over there. And then when they bring us into the Democratic Party, we are afterthought. The Democratic Party is trash. Black America, Foundation Black America should totally leave the Democratic Party. They're worthless. They only use us. We don't get nothing. We might as well, what's the difference? What we losing? We ain't getting nothing anyway. The Democratic Party be using foundational Black Americans, I'm telling you. They never got nothing. They never do nothing for us. Nothing. They'll do it for all kind of foreigners all over the world. You know why? Because they foreigners. They not FBA. I don't want people like Roland Martin with Haitian descent. I don't want them speaking for me because I don't trust them. I don't want them speaking for me because he going to always look out for some African or somebody else before he look out for me. Because why would he look out for foundational Black Americans? He's not that. He's going to always look out for Black immigrants like his mama or daddy or wherever that is, his family came from Haiti or wherever they came from. Same for Dr. Umar. Dr. Umar begged everybody for money, including foundational Black Americans. And when they asked him about reparations, he said, don't give it to us. All we're going to do is waste it. The same man that we gave money said, don't give us no money. Let that sink in. And nobody checked him for that. The same man that we gave money to build a school said if we get money, we ain't going to do nothing positive with it. But we gave him money for something positive to build a school. Just let that sink in. Foundational Black Americans gave Dr. Umar money for something positive like the school. And when he was questioned about reparations, he said, don't give us the money because we ain't going to do nothing positive with it. Let that sink in. And we gave him money for something positive. And he said, if you give us money, you would think that if black people gave him money to open a school, and you say, what about reparations? He would say, yeah, give them reparations because a lot of them helped me, gave me $2 million for the school. A lot of good things going to get done. He said, they ain't going to do nothing but waste it. This move with ABC, recognizing Foundation of Black Americans, means let's keep pushing. Now it's time to push harder because once they start recognizing foundational Black Americans, we're getting closer to the discussion of reparations. So we right there. This is proof that our movement is working, that our push is working, and that we're growing, and that the government sees us. We are forced to be reckoned with. So let's quadruple our numbers. We need more foundational Black Americans to honor themselves as that. And this is a sign that the people that's against us are losing. So let's stop focusing on the people that's against us and let's get more of our people that are foundational Black Americans to recognize they are that. Because now the government is telling our people that you all are foundational Black Americans. And they're connecting us with the lineage and the history. See, this is connecting us to 1923. See? This is connecting our achievements that we are foundational Black Americans. We go back to 1923.